Here with our tractor here in the shop. If we're looking at this, this is a Kubota L4310. If you can see the number here on the side, to the side. And the Kubota tractor, that tells us how powerful the engine on this one actually is. So this is a 43 horsepower Kubota tractor. If I come over here, I want to take my side panel off. We're going to begin to do our pre-trip inspection through our entire tractor. If you're doing the tractor driving contest or in class, we're actually going to perform a pre-trip inspection before we drive. Here, I have to pick up on my lock. I can swing out the door and then take it off of my tractor. I'm going to set it over here. Now the front of our tractor is a little damaged, but we're still going to take the front off so we can also see everything in the front of the tractor. I have to turn this knob on top. This is chrome piece. I turn it aside, it will come out. I must then reach down in here and disconnect my headlight wires so that my headlights can come off, and disconnect the safety cable that's here. So I have a safety cable that's usually latched here so that it can't fall off. I also have a wire here that's usually plugged in for our headlight. So I'm going to pull this off and set it against. With the entire cover off, I can see the engine bay of our tractor. Now a tractor is a very simple device. It's two parts. There is an engine and a drivetrain. If we step over here to the Ford tractor sitting here, we can look at that. This is a Ford tractor from the 70s. This front red section is the engine. This is the part that makes the power. Everything that's in blue from here back is what we call a drivetrain. Our drivetrain is only one important use, is to make this tractor move and make everything that we attach to it work. So as we're looking at this, our drivetrain is the same from the 60s all the way forward. We have a high-low gear selector that goes in high or low gear, and then we usually have 4 gears, 1, 2, 3, 4, making us effectively 8 gears, low 1, 2, 3, 4, and high 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we also have reverse, of course. This tractor also has the 3-point hitch attachment. That means that these two units lift and lower, and we hook a third arm to this unit that can adjust whatever's on the back of our tractor. When we're looking at this, the tractor only has those two main functions. Basically, to have a piece of equipment attached to it and to drive the wheels. Now, our piece of equipment is operated off our PTO shaft. Our PTO shaft is down here under the shield. If we look here, it's actually got a cover on it. But this will spin, allowing you to attach whatever you want to use to this tractor. If we walk over to the Kubota, we'll be able to look at our 3-point hitch attachment on the back of it a little better. This is what you're usually used to seeing on the bottom of the tractor. 2 arms that attach to something, and then a top link or a third arm, making this our 3-point hitch. These are the lifts that you saw there on the Ford, the 2 blue pieces. These lifts are driven by a hydraulic piston that make everything lift up. And then this shield covers our PTO outlet. It's a splined output shaft that spins and operates whatever we attach to it. So, safety-wise, we're going to talk about the PTO. So let's walk back to the front of the tractor now. As we walk up to the front, we're going to start checking our tractor. The easiest way for all of you guys and all of us to check this tractor is to start at the front and go backwards. There's no way you can miss anything if you start at the front. If you start at the front and go backwards, you also want to start at the bottom and go up. So the first thing I'm going to check at the very front of my tractor are my steel weights that are hanging off the front. These are counterbalances. They're just to keep my front end from bouncing so much, okay? I want to make sure they're not broke, and I want to make sure they're secure so when I'm going through a field, they don't fall off. As I step back, the next piece on my tractor, and every tractor is going to be different, but the next piece on mine is actually the battery. My battery, I'm going to check that my terminals are tight, and I'm going to check that they are free of corrosion. So I'm looking here. Everything is tight. They're not loose. I can't move them. My ground is tight, and it has a ground cable that goes down, and it's securely attached to the frame. So everything in those regards are in good shape. As I move from there, I also have my air filter sitting on top. So I'm going to go ahead and pop my air filter out, and we're going to check it out and see what we can see. If I take my cover off, I can see that I have a filter box that has filters inside of it. The filters inside pull air through here. So that means when the air comes in, it must go through the wall of this filter before it enters the engine. The first filter I'm going to take out is a little dirty looking, but it's not terrible. It did used to be white, so it is a little dirty. But this filter is your main filter. It sits on the outside, catches air as it goes in through the engine. This filter, the idea of it is to catch all major particles before anything makes it to the engine. In this tractor, we also have a secondary filter This filter is a finer filter. It catches more of the small particles after they pass through the large filter. So, these two filters work together to clean all our air before it travels into our pipe. We must also make sure that our hose connections are tight so that there aren't sucking exterior air past the filter. Because if we're sucking air anywhere else, that's dirty air. So our clean air, our filters are in good shape. We're going to put them back together. And then we're going to reattach our cap. All right. As we move back, the next thing we want to check is our radiator. Two things we want to check in our radiator. Number one is we actually have a pre-filter spring that's sitting over there on the ground that has been pulled out. It catches some of the big stuff so it doesn't clog up our radiator. We have to check these air pockets and make sure they're clear of debris. So I can see some stuff there I'm going to wipe off. But overall, it's pretty clean. They're not clogged up with trash. What will happen is when you're bush hogging or working for a long time, these filter particles, these filter passages will actually become clogged up, and then air can't go through to cool your air, to cool your water that's inside the radiator. That's the whole point of the radiator. It has water in it, the air passes through here, and it cools it off so that your engine never overheats. So one, we check the front, make sure it's clean. Number two, we're going to open it up. If this is hot, you never do this while it's hot. Okay? You can, only in an emergency situation, but it will, hot air and hot water will expand and spew out all over you. So, it's cooled down, we're going to take the cap off the top of our radiator. When I look down inside my radiator, and we won't be able to see it with the video, but right here I'll look down inside there and I'll see if I can see the water sitting on top there. Okay? There are metal flues in there. If those flues are exposed and there's no water, I need to add water here. But there should be water showing up at the top of the radiator where I can see that I have coolant in here. Now, at this point in time, if we live in a colder climate, here where we're at, we don't get a very cold day, but the coldest we got last year was 15 degrees. I want to check and make sure that my coolant can survive those really cold temperatures. So they make a tool. I don't have it with me currently. It's a testing tool for antifreeze. You take it, it's a little bulb, and you suck out a little bit of your antifreeze, and it has different balls in it, different colored balls. They will tell you that each ball has a value. So if I have pure water in my engine, which I can use, pure water will cool an engine effectively. Pure water freezes at what temperature?
32 degrees.
32 degrees. So if my pure water is in this, and I use my little ball, the little ball that's going to float is going to say that we freeze at 32 degrees, right? I want to add antifreeze to this so that my water won't freeze at 32 degrees. So I add antifreeze, and let's say I use a half mixture of antifreeze, half mixture of water. I suck it up in my little tube. The number that comes out might be something like -15. Here in Georgia, we're in plenty good shape with that. So the reason we do that, freezing water can crack the block of your engine. If your water is sitting in your engine and it freezes on a cold day, and then heats back up, freezes again, keeps doing that, it will eventually expand and contract until the point that it cracks your block. And then we have a bigger problem on our hands. So we try to keep our antifreeze. Guys and girls that are driving now, it's something good to get into the habit of is checking your antifreeze in cold weather. Close my radiator up. I'm going to move on back throughout the rest of my engine. As I look on the side of the engine, I'm looking at a lot of basic things. The main unit I want to check is my front belt. Here, my drive belt that drives all the accessories. I want to check and make sure that it's tight. I want to make sure that it's not too loose. I also want to make sure that if I have a tensioner, that tensioner is functioning as it's supposed to, keeping that belt tight. I look through here, make sure there's no wires chewed up from it's been sitting in the barn. Maybe there's a set of rats or something living in it. We'll make sure that nothing's been chewed up. Make sure everything's good. While I'm on this side of the engine, I'm also going to pull my dipstick out of the bottom of the engine. Your dipstick will always go down to the sump where your oil sinks to. Pull it out, and I'm going to check and make sure that my oil level is good. Looking at this, looks like I'm in real good shape. I know there's a line up there somewhere that says the full, and we're over that mark, so we're in good shape there. I want to check my oil level. Put that back. I'm looking through the rest of this. All my wires are good. All my pedals seem to be free, so I'm in good shape. The next unit I come to is right here. This is my steel gas tank on this unit. I open up the cap here. And I should rephrase, this is a fuel tank, specifically diesel fuel in this tractor. We have a diesel Kubota engine here. So I want to look over there and make sure I got fuel. Why do I want to look in there? Because I don't know if my fuel gauge is functioning correctly on every tractor. Okay? So we make sure that we give it a good check beforehand, or either we just go fill it up and then we know that we have fuel. As we back up, we get it looking at the cab of the tractor. We're going to come back and test our lights and safety equipment there later on. Looking at the side of the tractor, there's two things here that we need to check. Number one is our tires. Do we have air in our tire? Well, let's look at this. People that have not seen a slack tire, this is a slack tire. If you see this bulging on the bottom, lets us know that this thing's not as full as air as we would like it to be. So it's sitting down. So I would want to fill this tire up with air. As I look at my rear tires, they're a little harder to see. But if I do need to add air to these tires, in tractors, most people decide to put water in here to add weight to their tires. If that happens, we have to pump up our tire in a specific orientation. The valve stem, which is there on that tire, this unit is easier to see than the back tire. I would need to make sure that my valve stem is at the top of the tire rotation so that when I pump it up, all my water is at the bottom. Okay? So I want my water here, and I want my valve stem up here so I can pump air directly into the tire. If I try to pump water down here, I'm going to be pumping it into water. If I try to pump air down here, I'm going to be pumping it into water, and there's a chance that water could blow back into my air compressor, which is not what we want. So we want to make sure that we're pumping directly into air. So slack tires are one thing we need to check. The next thing we need to check is any grease points that may be on this tractor. If you know your tractor requires greasing, make sure that you're doing it on a regular schedule. Either daily if you're operating a vehicle all day long, or every 2 or 3 days if you're operating it for a few hours a day. We have grease points here on this side, and we have the best one that we can see and get a picture of is right here on this side. If we come around this corner, we will see it sticking right here. Right there is a grease point. All right? So now, we're going to step around the back of the tractor and check the last sets of safety and equipment that we can check back here. On the back of the tractor, we're looking at the whole unit. There are a few safety features that must be present on the rear of the tractor before we can actually use them. Number one is our orange triangle. This is our slow-moving vehicle triangle. This lets people behind us, if we're ever on the road, know that we're not going to be traveling very quickly, that you should go ahead and pass us if you can. But you need to do it safely. So help your drivers out, stay as far inside if you can, or wave them around when it's safe. So that's your slow-moving vehicle size. The next unit is the ROPS. R-O-P-S. That stands for Rollover Protection System. The Rollover Protection System is what's to protect us if this vehicle does decide to turn over on a hill. So if we're going and this vehicle rolls, the idea is that this bar will hit the ground and keep our head and noggin safe. Now there's 2 rules for ROPS. Whenever this ROPS system is engaged or in the up position as it is to provide rollover protection, we must buckle our seatbelt so that when we roll over, we don't come out of the seat. We want to stay seated here and let this ROPS do its job. In most agricultural applications, especially chicken houses, we can't fit one of these into a chicken house, so we have to leave the ROPS down to make it through. If we must leave the ROPS down, we do not buckle our seatbelt on the tractor. I know that's contrary to all your driving skills. You do not buckle up when your ROPS is down. That way, if this does decide to roll, you can bail off, hopefully in a safe location, and not be crushed by a rolling over tractor. So, our first line of safety would be not to get on any situation that would cause us to flip. But number 2, our ROPS system is there to help us protect ourselves. As we move down to the 3-point system, this is what we use to attach an implement that we use on a tractor. Now, looking here, I have my splined PTO output shaft. This unit can be engaged from the cockpit, from the driver's area, and cause this to spin at approximately 1/4 of the speed of your engine to operate something connected behind you. So if I hook up a bush hog does not spin on its own. I have to hook a bar that connects these 2 units together. That spins the bush hog and causes it to work. That being said, that's an extremely dangerous portion of a tractor. There are many farm safety days where there's somebody missing fingers, hands, arms, anything because of these units here. This unit is much more powerful than you are. It will take you with it. So, we have our safety shield installed that we can lay down on top of that PTO while it's spinning so that hopefully I can't accidentally get my foot or my hand shoved down into that PTO. Okay? That's a safety feature of a tractor. The last thing we need to check as we move all the way to the rear is our hydraulic fuel level. Our tractor actually has developed a leak in the last week, but our hydraulic fuel level can be checked either by a dipstick that is located somewhere in the sump area of your hydraulic system, which is the entire drivetrain or the entire blue section of this tractor. Hydraulic fluid is used to lubricate all the gears that function in this unit. So everything in there is filled with hydraulic fluid. On this tractor here, we don't actually use it, so of course we don't have to check it on a daily basis. But on this vehicle, we do check it. So, two ways to check it is that sump using that dipstick. This way we have a sight window here. It's very hard to see. There is a little sight window down there that tells us where our hydraulic fluid level is. After we've checked the outside of our tractor and we are confident that the vehicle is worth driving, we'll move to the cockpit area and do a few checks that we can. Whenever you embark a tractor, we're not going to discuss the embarking and the starting up, but whenever you do get onto a tractor, you must do it properly. 2 points of contact with your hands, and then step up. If you only use 1 point of contact, there's a way that you could slip and fall backwards, or slip and fall this way. So we want 2 points of contact to pull ourselves up. We step and we get on the tractor. Right now, we're not going to crank the tractor up. We're only going to check a few things. While I'm sitting in this area, I want to check safety features. My safety features being hazard flashers, turn signals, and headlights. Okay? Of course, I can't test my headlights when my headlights off. We would reattach those. But since we were using this yesterday, we do know that the headlights are functioning. I'll turn my key on to the on position. I do not crank the tractor up. I will test my hazard lights by pushing in the little white triangle red button. That's my hazard flashers, letting people know on the road that I'm going different speed than what the road says. Both of my hazards are flashing as they should. So hopefully we're warning people in the forward and reverse direction that we're there. Number 2 is I would turn on my headlights and check those. I can see that my dash panel's lighting up, and I do know that my headlights were functioning yesterday, so I'm okay with that. The next thing I'm going to test is my turn signals. I have my left turn blinking, while the right is solid. If I switch directions, my right's blinking while my left is solid. After all that's done, I would consider this tractor ready for use. As long as I had filled up the air in my tires, made sure that I'd put enough oil in it if it needed it, made sure enough hydraulic fluid if I needed that, and cleaned anything that needed to be cleaned before I used this tractor. If there was wiring difficulties, if the lights were not working, bulbs, wires, whatever needs replaced should be replaced before we operate it. That is all for this video. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Chuck Pavliska with Terrain King. Today I'm joined by Paul Williams, Senior Product Manager with Kubota Tractor. Paul, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to be discussing the M108 series tractor. This is a staple tractor for Terrain King. We mount the booms, we mount the Terrain Master, and we mount the side rotaries to this tractor. It's great for your mowing application. Paul, we better get started because this Texas sun's going to be beating down on you later, so.
And the wind's got to drop a little bit too, would be nice. A little bit about Terrain King and Kubota. It's been a number of years now that we started our marketing alliance, and this is very important for everybody to understand. The Kubota Tractor Dealer Network and Terrain King dealers are now one. Kubota Tractor and Terrain King has a marketing alliance to bring together two great engineering organizations to performance match the Terrain King mowers. We're the only manufacturer to do such a element and take such a step and bring it to a new level to where the mowers are performance matched to the tractor. And that's what we're going to bring to the table. The M108S is a great tractor for the Terrain King product line. It develops 96 PTO horsepower with a 32-speed transmission or a 16-speed transmission. The styling of the 108 gives us a nice sloping hood for good visibility. Tilts up, we'll show you that in a minute, how you get in to service the engine. It has a wide cab on it, so there's a lot of comfort in the cab. And our exhaust is off to the cab corner to get better visibility from the operator's point of view. On the right side of our engine, we have all of our filter points, our oil filter, our fuel filter. All filtration is done on the right side. Let's check our serviceability points under the hood. As you can see, the hood easily just opens up on gas shocks. The engine's air cleaner system is right out front. It's easy to service, and it has a dual element air filter as well. with a safety element inside. But you don't get into your filtration system only by looking at the monitor right here. If you don't see red, then it's okay and ready to go. But if you see red, as I have tripped this one for the demonstration, then it's time to service the air cleaner. Once you service it, then you trip the button and it puts the vacuum monitor right back in service. Battery's right up front, it's easy to service. But one of the most important things on a cab tractor is if your cab is going to keep air conditioning running at its optimum, you have to have a clean condenser. So Kubota has made the ultimate in keeping condensers clean. By simply providing a slide out system. All Kubota M Series cab tractors have this nice feature. You can blow it all out when it gets dirt and chaffy and just clean it up and slide it back in and you're ready to go. Some competitors don't offer this, and it's a great tool. Be sure your customers are aware of all the AC systems that slide out and show it and demonstrate it to them. It's just that simple. When it comes to daily checking of engine oil, it's very easy. Your dipstick's located right here on the left-hand side, and your oil refill when you change your oil is right next to it as well. Kubota M Series tractors use a bevel pinion system on the front axle. No universal joints to draw foreign material in, no open points. High ground clearance over 19 inches across the front of the tractor. And over here is our bevel pinion drive. It's all hermetically sealed in oil. And what's really unique about a bevel pinion drive over a U-joint system is that no matter what steering angle the wheel is turned at, full power is applied to the wheel at all times. The 108S also incorporates a front differential lock. It's a mechanical type. You press it on the floor with your right foot. You can lock all four wheels up in this tractor. So that's real posi traction. So let's take a moment now and climb up into the cab and check out the operator station and the transmission and the operator's point of view, okay? Aboard the 108S, you'll find a lot of room in the cab. You'll find a nice tilt steering wheel to get that added comfort, and of course a nice deluxe seat. This seat also has a height adjustment in it. And for myself, I usually need to adjust the height. So we just raise up like this, push it down on the bottom, and the seat drops to the floor. Now you just raise it up by click, set that first. There you go. Now just turn the crank and set your weight. You get a nice comfortable ride, folding armrests. So be sure your customers are aware of how this seat works. It's very important for operator comfort. The 108S has a hydraulic shuttle, standard equipment on it. It's a hydraulic wet clutch for long life. That's another very important feature. There's no dry clutch in this tractor. The transmission in this tractor is a 32-speed swing shift. And when we say swing shift, what we're talking about is we have 8 speeds shift and go. So clutch, shift, and go. On the 108S, if you see the black transmission shift, you'll find it has a button on the inside, and this is for our 32 speed. If it's an orange knob, then that is our 16-speed transmission. And what it is you have 4 speeds, and when you swing it to the left, like this, it'll beep and go into a high range, and then you start all over, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's a great transmission. Now, if that's not enough, we can drop our auxiliary range down into low range as well. So we've got 16 in low and 16 in high. We can certainly find the exact speed out of 32 of them. On the dual speed button on the main shift, set your working speed to be on high. That means the light is out. When you come to a spot where you need to quickly slow down or need more power and torque on a hill, just press the button and it automatically shifts down for you in the dual speed power shift. On the M108 air conditioning system, we have our temperature, our direction of flow, and our fan speed. Turn that on, push a button in, and that turns the AC system on, or you can just use it for fresh air. Control the temperature to your liking. We have air vents across the top, And we have special louvers down under front here for defrosting purposes. And over to the right we have our wiper switches and our auxiliary lights and our speakers. Our cabs are all radio ready, meaning their antenna and speakers are all pre-wired. With our air filtration system on the 108 cab, we have our recirculate control valve right here. This is for fresh air. Put it down there and it closes this dampener. Now we have recirculation inside the cab. In those real hot days, you want just the air conditioning to cool. Run it on recirculate and you'll be very comfortable. On our control console over here, everything is grouped together for easy operation. Our engine throttle, which we also have a foot throttle for. Our transmission, our hydraulic remotes, which one is standard. You can go up to 3. Here's our draft and our position controls for our 3-point hitch. And right here is our PTO engagement. It's a hydraulic independent PTO, 540 speed and 540 to 1000, if so required, is an option. The M108S has a separate parking brake right here. So when you're stopping the tractor, you're going to dismount, always set the parking brake. And when you climb aboard, one of the first things you want to do after you set the seat is get that seat belt on. Kubota offers retractable seat belts on all of our cab tractors and all of our ROPS tractors. On Kubota's business end of the tractor, the real working end of the tractor, we have a Category 2 3-point hitch. We also have telescoping link ends that are standard that ease in hooking up and connecting implements by stretching them out, moving the stabilizer so you can move the arm, hook it up, and then back the tractor. And it's just that quick and easy. Both left and right sides have our float link as well. Like with the 96-inch Flailmore back here, you release one side and it gives that Flailmore a nice lateral float to follow the terrain of the ground. We have a right turnbuckle here for leveling our hitch. We also have a heavy-duty drawbar. That's standard equipment on the 108S.
Paul, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to share your expertise on the M108. See this videos and many others like it at our website, terrainking.com. Thank you.
Land-Pride builds a quality line of 15-foot cutters that have lightning-fast blade tip speeds in excess of 15,000 feet per minute and applications in crop shredding and pasture or roadside maintenance. Our medium-duty RC35 series cutters are perfect for maintaining CRP ground and basic pasture maintenance. These cutters are built for budget-minded farmers and ranchers needing the dependable capacity to cut materials up to 1 1/2 inches in diameter season after season. Our RC5515 series is perfect for pasture and right-of-way clearing operations as well as regular cutting maintenance with a capacity to cut materials up to 3 1/2 inch in diameter. The smooth top design reduces maintenance time by helping to avoid a buildup of grass or crop residue on the top side or making it easier to clean off if cutting conditions do cause a buildup. For highly dependable continuous duty service in tough cutting conditions on highways or pastures, the extra heavy duty smooth top RC6515 will meet the challenge head on with 4-inch diameter cutting capacity. Whether you are choosing a 540 RPM model or a 1000 RPM model, Land-Pride cutters are sure to offer the selection of performance features you'll want and need to get those cutting jobs done. Land-Pride offers 3 types of hitches to make it easier on the tractor and cutter, while minimizing structural stresses and drawbar wear that may result from your specific mowing conditions. The Perma-Level clevis hitch comes standard on all 3 series of cutters. The double swivel clevis hitch, which swivels up and down and side to side, is a good choice for roadside and incline mowing conditions and is available for the 5515 and 6515 series. The bar-tight clevis, which is also available for the 5515 and 6515 series, swivels side to side and up and down, and totally eliminates any drawbar wear, making it an excellent choice for commercial and municipal mowing applications. Dual adjustable leveling rods tie the tongue to the rear axle, allowing the cutter to maintain a level attitude and uniform cutting height over uneven ground. This also helps reduce potential drawbar wear. Maneuverability of 15-foot cutters is also important. The narrow tongue and hitch designs, along with the tapered swept-back leading edge of the center deck and wings, enable tight turns without coming into contact with the tractor's tires. Deck construction on our RC 3515 Plainsman Series cutter incorporates heavy 10-gauge sheet metal, along with formed and welded topside heavy-duty structural members running fore and aft to provide excellent durability and strength. This also leaves the underside of the deck clean and unobstructed for uniform distribution of cut material. 9-inch tall side skirts form a deep cutting chamber to handle heavy cutting conditions and are made of 1/4 inch thick material to stand up to unexpected obstacles in the cutting path. Double-deck smooth top construction is featured on the RC 5515 Commander and the RC 6515 Dominator series. The lower portion of the deck features extra thick 7-gauge construction, while the 10-gauge top deck sandwiches weld steel support members between the upper and lower decks for absolute superior strength. Land Pride's double-deck smooth top design provides a topside that looks good and clean and is easy to keep that way. This design also provides a clean underdeck cutting chamber with no exposed structural members to obstruct airflow and uniform distribution of cut material. The RC 5515 and RC 6515 also feature replaceable side skirts that are 1/4 inch thick and 12 inches tall, providing an extra deep cutting chamber to handle high volumes of material and heavy cutting conditions. Another unique feature found only on the RC 5515 and RC 6515 is the leading edge 14-inch wide pre-cut chamber, which provides an additional 2 inches of chamber depth, allowing grass and brush material to stand back up just prior to contact with the cutting blades, providing a more uniform and level cut. Leading edge construction of all Land Pride cutters is reinforced to withstand stubborn cutting conditions and unexpected obstacles. Standard skid shoes on the RC 3515 series are bolted on and replaceable for both center and wing sections. Skid shoes on the RC 5515 and RC 6515 center section are replaceable and offer optional inboard or outboard mounting locations to reduce the potential for gouging. Wing-mounted skid shoes on the RC 5515 and RC 6515 are not only replaceable, but are also reversible, providing extra long service life. In order to provide the 3 1/2 inch cutting capacity of the RC 5515 and the 4-inch cutting capacity on the RC 6515, both series come equipped with massive 250 horsepower splitter drive gear boxes and 210 horsepower center and wing drive gearboxes, equipped with 2 3/8 inch output shafts. The medium-duty RC 3515 comes equipped with a 160 horsepower splitter drive gearbox and 110 horsepower center and wing gearbox drives with 2-inch output shafts, providing up to 1 1/2 inch diameter cutting capacity. Land Pride gearboxes are mounted on welded heavy-duty steel channel frame members. The RC 3515 gearboxes have a 4-bolt mounting flange, and the RC 5515 and RC 6515 gearboxes have 6-bolt mounting flanges to handle high startup torque loads. Land Pride is so confident in the durability, reliability, and structural integrity of these gearboxes that a 5-year limited gearbox warranty comes standard with all 3 series. Whether choosing a 540 RPM or 1000 RPM model, Land Pride provides a selection of main input and wing driveline components to match your cutting needs and conditions. Selectable Category 4 or 5 drivelines with slip clutches are provided for center and wing drivelines to protect all drivetrain components against unexpected obstacles that might be encountered in the cutting path. Category 5 main input drivelines come with standard equipment on all models and are offered with constant velocity or conventional U-joint configurations. 540 RPM main input driveline selections feature 6 spline end shafts, and 1000 RPM main input driveline selections feature 20 spline end shafts on the 1 3/4 inch drivelines and 21 splines on the 1 3/8 inch drivelines. All drivelines are designed for easy service access to lubrication points. Cutting blade configurations for grass and heavy brush cutting applications come with 2 extra tough 1/2 inch or 4-inch free-swinging heat-treated alloy steel blades mounted on an assembly made up of a 3/16 inch thick protective round disc shaped steel stump jumper and 1 inch thick steel supports. The RC6515 stump jumper has 1 inch thick steel plate support. A 1 inch thick cross-member support is used for the RC5515. The RC3515 stump jumper comes with a single-formed 1 inch thick steel support. Cutting blade configurations for stock and residue shredding applications consist of 2 full sets of stacked blades, mounted on a 1 1/4 inch thick blade bar support. Shredder kits are available for installation on the RC5515 and RC6515 series only. Lower gearbox blade spindle bearings are totally shielded and protected from potential damage from discarded wire and other foreign debris by a recessed integral steel collar on the stump jumper assembly. Deck rings are available for all 3 series of Land Pride cutters to prevent blades from being deflected into the deck bottom by embedded stumps, rocks, or other ground debris. Access holes allow easy access to blade mounting bolts. The left wing blades on Land Pride cutters turn opposite from the center section and right wing section blades. This provides for even distribution of cut material out the rear of the cutter. Cutting height is adjusted by using the cylinder spacers on the center deck to achieve cutting heights ranging from 2 inches to 14 inches. The deck height can be adjusted on the go when needed using the hydraulic lift cylinder. The cutting height cylinders are attached to the rear axle on one end and spring-supported deck mounts on the other end. These spring-supported mounts help absorb the shock of running over rough and uneven ground. The wings and center section maintain their level working relationship to each other through the adjustable turnbuckles tying the center section to each wing deck. These turnbuckles are adjusted using the large adjusting nuts mounted at the rear of the cutter. Wings are connected to the center section using a 1 inch solid rod. This allows the decks to flex while maintaining structural strength and rigidity.